LSU baseball. So let's get to LSU baseball. We got Jared Jones in the studio. Jared Mitchell at his home in Tejas, fresh off a flight probably from Charlotte. They're all weekend doing God's work, talking SEC baseball. How you doing over there, Jay?
I'm living, baby. I'm living. We're here.
You look good. You look good. You look good on the big screen. You look good on the, or maybe it's not called big screen. What is the TV called? They call it the big screen. They call it something. Whatever. You look good on the screen. You look good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Green suit was a nice touch.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we try to do a little bit.
No problem. We got Lloyd. Lloyd and I were in the stands. We stayed all night, watched the game. After the walk-off homer, we had some nice gentlemen in the stands, had some fireball shooters.
It did.
We ended up getting this shot as Jared's running around the bases.
It was an unbelievable scene.
Unbelievable scene, and we are very, very honored to be able to talk about that scene with the man himself. They say the bear hunts at night. Sometimes the bear hunts early in the morning. You did both. Big weekend. Congratulations. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Talk about, look, that was one of the coolest moments that we've seen all year. Probably one of the coolest moments of your career to this point. The only thing that could have made it better had there not been a 3-hour rain delay and it was at 9:30 instead of 1:30 because you would have had a full house. But needless to say, it was a big win at a big time, big swing. A lot of components to that. And the first one is it had to feel really good. It had to be a really cool moment to be able to share that with your teammates. Talk me through the moment, and then I want to get to how the moment happened.
Yeah, I mean, kind of blacked out in the moment, obviously, I think as anybody would, or you know, at least they say they do. Yeah. And it's true, you know, you just kind of take that swing and everything kind of afterwards just seems like a blur. And when I touched home plate, seeing all my teammates there and all the energy they had, I mean, it was awesome. And to all the fans that stuck it out for, you know, a 3.5-hour rain delay. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else, let alone in college baseball. So, you know, Louisiana and Baton Rouge kind of represented well there. And then big win for our team. And, you know, we were kind of struggling a little bit towards that game and that series. But, you know, it's Tennessee. It's at home. You know, it's a big series, and we knew that going into it. And, I mean, from guys like Dalton Beck getting their 7th at-bat of the season.
Unbelievable.
107 off, you know.
Thank God he didn't hit the pitcher.
Relievers. Yeah.
Thank God he didn't hit him, because if you hit him, you may not be in this situation.
So, yeah, I mean, what a great guy he's been. Awesome teammate, and for him to come up and do that, I mean, that's just awesome. And then Derek Curiel doing what he does. I mean, there's not a lot of words to describe the season and the player he is. So he's awesome. And then, you know, I was just fortunate enough to be in a situation where, you know, I was kind of okay with either way. You know, we're going extra innings or I'm going to walk it off.
That's the best place to be. It's like, I'm not going to lose the game, but I can win the game.
Exactly. So no pressure on me at all. I was just kind of up there like, man, might as well just hit a homer.
Yeah.
But I got down to 2 strikes, and I was like, man, the winning run's right there at third base. Just relax. Try
to put one in play.
Just try and touch the ball.
Yeah. And, boy, did you touch it.
And, you know, sometimes that's all I have to do, and dude's throwing 96 miles an hour, and there it goes.
So you kind of walked me through it, but, like, leading up to the at-bat, you've had, you know, last week you had the Oppo homer, the Oppo double, but you still didn't feel 100%. You're still grinding through some things, and you've gone through this, you know, stretch in the season where it's a normal, where everybody goes through these valleys in the year. And when you're in that valley and you're in that situation, talk me through that bat mentally. Like when you get to that situation, you said, okay, I want to put the ball in play, but then you got down in the count 1 and 2. He threw your breaking ball, he threw your fastball. Walk me through the mindset of that at bat.
Yeah, well, my last at bat against him, I struck out on a fastball away, looking, and I knew that he was probably going to go back to it. Their pitching coach had kind of been sticking with the same plan all weekend to that point, and so I figured in a 1-2 count, it was 1-1. He threw a fastball up and in. I fouled it straight back, and Hayden Travinsky texted me after the game. He said, as soon as I saw that swing on the 1-1 heater, I was like, if he throws another one, he's going to be on it.
Yeah.
And I just, man, if he throws a slider and I swing over the top of it, I don't care. I'm going to get the head out on a heater.
Yep.
And he threw a heater, and I got the head out.
Yep. And boy, did you get the head out. When did y'all feel like in that moment, right? Because me and Lloyd were sitting next to each other. We had a lot of people around us, and that's not necessarily coming back in 3 runs in the 9th, but there's been big deficits, and then the bullpen comes in and walks a guy, someone makes an error, something happens, and you can start feeling that in the dugout, like, oh boy, like we just need one more thing to go our way, and then it's going to just be an avalanche for them. It's going to fall. At what point in that inning did you were like, we're going to win this game? Was it the first error, the second error, the bases loaded?
So we're in the top of the ninth, and they have the scoreboard in right field, which always has the lineups on it.
Right.
And they have the gold rectangle around who's due up to lead off the next inning. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, he gets out, 1 out, 2 outs. He's on third, he's on second, he's on first, 1 run in, 2 runs
That's what
in.
Seriously.
I could come up with the bases. Like I can win the game. So I'm like, holy cow. That'd be a lot, but, like, stay locked in for an at-bat, you know, because, like, there's times where you might, you know, I'm not getting another at-bat. Right. You know, it's the 9th inning, whatever. But I was like, okay, I can get another at-bat. Stay locked in for it. And, I mean, Ethan hits the ball on the ground. I'd give him a hit on that.
That's what I said.
I give him a hit on that.
It should have been a hit because the guy jumped and then, like, he's
fast.
Yeah.
He is very fast for his size.
Yeah.
Like, the dude moves.
Yeah.
And so he leads off, gets on base. Jake puts the ball in play, hits. I mean, he hit that ball hard.
Yeah,
Third base, that's a tough play for anybody to make, and it just ate him up. And then, I mean, Dalton Beck comes up, dude.
Basically, someone walks. I don't know who drew
Tanner Reeves.
Tanner Reeves walks.
Yep.
And then Dalton Beck comes up with 2 outs, I believe.
I think it was one out at that time.
1 out.
Yep.
2-1 count. I mean, he's had 1 SEC at bat up until that point, and then puts the best swing up to that point, probably the best swing of the day.
Oh yeah.
Finally gets a barrel, line drive up the middle. Basically, at that point, it was like, we're gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be, right?
It was like, man, we're gonna make a run for it. It's gonna be tough. Derek comes up, and when Derek comes up to the plate, I mean, like, you're thinking there's no way he's not getting on base here.
Yeah.
So I'm hitting behind him, and I'm like, I'm getting an at bat regardless. Right. Either it's gonna be bases loaded or he's gonna drive in this run, and he drove in the run. So then, no pressure on me. I'll go up, do my thing.
Well, it was fun to watch. Jared, you got one for him?
Yeah, I got one. So, Bear, I'm not exactly sure how many people are aware of your football prowess and what it's like in your family, but it was very obvious on the weekend that you brought the bat and the mouthpiece. What was said between you and that home plate umpire, and did you speak to him the next day after the homer?
So as soon as I hit it, I stood there and watched it, and he told me to get going. I looked at him. I said, "Game's over. It's over." And he said, I got you. And then I turned to our dugout and started kind of hollering at them. And then I didn't talk to him. They rotate clockwise, so he was at third base the next day. But when he was at second base on Sunday, I hit a double, and they made a pitching change. And I went up to him. I was like, man, people are going crazy on Instagram, Twitter. I'm not trying to show you up. He's like, no, dude, I'd rather you say that to me than turn to Tennessee or anything. Like, he's like, I'm good with it. I'd prefer you do that. So.
Yeah, and he was probably on edge because there's some chirping going on. So I get it.
Getting run through the ringer since first pitch of the game.
First pitch of the game, he was getting booed, and you came out and said that was no, it wasn't you that said that. Never mind. Take that back. That was the last interview with Jake Brown. Whenever there was the other time, Jake, that was the best call he made all.
Yeah, but you knew that the umpire was going to be in for it. Whenever you have a 3.5-hour rain delay in Baton Rouge, like, what do you think these people are going to do to get through the day? And that's just going to be an absolute booze bags until the first inning. So if it would have been a first pitch regardless, if it wasn't, like, it would just strike right down the middle. It could have been anywhere that he was going to get booed.
Talk me through the guy, right? Because baseball, I feel like fans watch baseball, and they are so unreasonable about their expectations because majority of those fans probably played baseball at some point in their life. All right, football is a little different. Not everybody wants to play football. Basketball, but baseball is, like, very relatable to the fans. So, like, everybody thinks, oh, just shorten up and hit the ball to right field, or just put the ball in play. How can you swing at that? And what they don't understand is, one, it's hard, right? Two, you have a guy on the mound throwing 100 miles an hour from the left side who's going to be in the Major League Baseball. He's going to be a big league pitcher, and you have a lot of other things that are going on. How good was he as a pitcher? Obviously, as an offensive guy, I never want to give the pitcher credit, but you have to understand sometimes the guys are good, and you just got to battle through it. How good was he, and how much of a challenge did he give y'all that game?
Yeah, he was great job. 5 2/3 no-hit innings. Yeah. So, I mean, tip your cap to that. He came out, great fastball, commanded his off-speed well. I mean, there's not much else to it. He located heaters in on us when he needed to. I think offensively, although it didn't show, we fought him pretty well. We didn't have a ton of strikeouts against him. Right. Like, I had 2 and Josh had 2. Other than that, there was only, I think, 1 other. Yeah. So, I mean, we did a good job fighting in 2 strikes and putting the ball in play. Nothing was really falling. And then, game turns over. Like the game, Coach Johnson always says, game know who deserves to be rewarded. And by the end of that game, the 2 errors that Tennessee committed, we deserved to win that game.
Well, Tennessee's been booting balls all year.
Yeah.
Honestly. And, they hadn't done it. They made some plays, and they finally did it. Jared, you got another one?
Yeah, Bear, you go through a series like that at this time of the year where you're really going down the home stretch of that schedule. What do you feel like bringing a club like that into your place? Obviously, not just being the last national champion, but also, let's be honest, a talented ball club. And you beat them in what is, 3 tightly contested ball games. You win a series like that. What does that do for the team going forward, and how do you guys feel about where you are looking towards the rest of the year?
Yeah, it's huge for us. I mean, I think we've always had a sense of confidence about ourselves, like one of the most talented teams in the country, but it's not about the team with the most talent necessarily. It's about the team that plays the best that day, and so you have to go out there every day and play to your standard. And at times, this team has not always done that, and we've at least been self-aware to recognize that and understand there's more baseball and better baseball in there. And this weekend, that's what we talked about, is like, how can we play our most consistent and best brand of baseball day in and day out? And, Tennessee, great team, a lot of great hitters, a lot of great pitchers, and, I'm glad we were at home and had our fans up behind us.
When the offense is struggle. I mean, when you struggle, right, when things aren't going your way and you have those types of games and it's like, man, we're doing everything right, we're working our ass off, we're sticking with the process, it hasn't turned for us, the game rewards you as a team, right, because coaches can only tell you so much. Right, they can only you can only work on your swing so much. At some point, it's got to be, all right, let's go make it happen. As a team, how do y'all go about that mentally, emotionally? Is it obviously players only meetings are kind of eyewash sometimes unless they're really genuine. Is there conversation with you and a lot of the other guys as far as hey, we're good, let's keep going, or is it hey, everybody just try to figure it out and let's go?
It's probably a combination of all of those things. I think individually everybody wants to be successful for themselves. I mean, as anybody would.
Right.
And then beyond that, we want to be really successful as a team and go win something, you know. And so, whether that's, I wouldn't say player-led meetings. I say there's, we sit in a locker room. We have 3-hour rain delays, so we sit in the locker room a lot. So we're going to talk. And, we've got a whiteboard in the locker room, so we're going to, write some things up there.
I love that.
And we're, close-knit group of guys. So it's really never as bad as it seems or as far off as, we thought it was. And so we just kind of told ourselves, man, for the 35 games to start this season, we were the best offense in the country.
Right.
And what did that look like? Get back to that. And so it's not going to wake up one day and we're just going to automatically be that team again. We had to grind a little bit through that and get back to it and facing good pitchers every weekend. I mean, that Saturday guy for Tennessee legit.
Yeah, he is.
Legit.
Yeah, he is. Throwing 100.
Throwing 100, 3 pitches for strikes to both batters, cutters at 94. This is legit.
Yeah.
And it's tough every weekend in the SEC. We're going to go on the road next weekend to A&M and face another great lefty. And so when you're trying to battle through something like that and fight good pitchers, now you're fighting yourself, you're fighting the batter, or you're fighting the pitcher as well, and you're kind of not giving yourself enough room for success. So just take a deep breath, relax, and as a team we just kind of said, man, forget about the 40-something games that have already happened. We've got 15 left. Let's go make something with those 15.
Yeah. Jared.
There, for you, I would imagine back half of 2023, even being the best teammate you could possibly be, it's tough to not be a part of that run physically, not literally being out there and playing. And I know that had to have allowed you to grow so much mentally and emotionally. I don't really want to talk about the swing and all the things you do there, but how have you grown as a person, as a man, as a hitter mentally since that 2023, your freshman season, to now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a word to kind of sum it up, but it's been a lot of growth for me personally from the person I stepped as an 18-year-old kid stepping onto campus. There's a lot about baseball that I thought I knew or that I thought I had figured out. Never really saw any true failure or at least longevity within that failure. It was always maybe a bad game here or there. But when you get to college and you get tested, man, it's a tough game. There's biggest jump in talent gap probably from high school to college. And, of course, I'm coming to LSU, so there's no place else like this. toughest fans, toughest atmosphere, but also the best. And, you know, my freshman year, I probably got a lot more caught up in the ebbs and flows of the game. You know, I would really ride the wave, and when things were going really good for me, I was the happiest kid alive. You know, best teammate. It was really easy for me to be that. And then when things were going bad, I was probably pissed off, throwing stuff, and, you know, making every excuse. The umpire, you know, effed me or this or that. So Coach Johnson pulled me into his office one day. I think it was my sophomore year fall. And he was like, dude, you know, I told you you're my starting first baseman, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, I didn't work for that position, but I'm just saying, like, for the first time in my career, I was like, man, maybe I'm not what I think I am.
Right.
And so worked that fall all the time. Yeah, I had a rough Cape summer my freshman year.
Hard.
And it's tough up there too. So, like, going into that fall my sophomore year, I was like, man, I really got to go here, and I didn't. Then things started to click over that winter break, going into my sophomore year. Had a really good preseason going into my sophomore year. Played every game last year, and I think the best way to get better at baseball is just playing baseball.
Right.
Get more reps, and I saw, you know, another 30 games in the SEC plus another 15 in the postseason, whether that be the tournament or the regional. So more at-bats I got, the more comfortable I got, and then, you know, mentally going through the ebbs and flows, you just – whether that's coaches kind of just brainwashing it into you of, like, man, you just can't go down that path. You really can't do that. And then I have such a great support system around me outside of the field, family, friends, my girlfriend. So, like, everybody around me supports me in what I do. So it's really easy for me to, whether I have a good game or bad game, go off the field and still enjoy my life and what I do here. So baseball for me is kind of like a job. You know, I show up good or bad day at the office. I still, you know, have another life outside of this. And now this year, you know, I have a different perspective. You know, I've got 14 games left of baseball, and only 4 or 5 of them are at the box, you know, and then postseason baseball is what it is. Anything can happen in postseason baseball. So I'm very grateful for the time that I've been here, and, you know, I'm like super excited to see what happens.
Yeah, and look, people think you talk about ebbs and flows, and you talk about having a life off the field, and that's – people think about that. The people don't think about that, right? They see us. They see you as baseball players, and they see you as somebody that's, hey, this is what you do. This is your life. And in reality, it's not that. It is a job. Like, yeah, you're in college, but you're getting paid now. Matters, right? Like, your career, your idea is to move on in this and play this for a long time. So this is this is your job, and to be able to separate that is a very hard thing to do. So being able to learn that, even in college. Like, that's an early time to learn it. If you go watch the deal on Netflix with the Red Sox. Right?
I started it today.
It's great.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it is as raw and as true as it can be. Minor league ball, professional baseball is a whole different animal because it's more spotlight. So learn that early is a huge deal, right? So kudos to you for being able to get through that. I want to ask you, talked about you had this opportunity as a freshman. You learned a lot. You know, Curiel obviously is doing things that most freshmen don't do. I mean, his ability to understand the strike zone, bat-to-ball skills, come up in big moments. But he's not the only freshman really contributing at that high of a level. You have Kase Evans, who got his first start, and he was lights out. Talk about the maturity of those guys and how they've continued to grow throughout the course of this year. And have you embarked any wisdom on them?
Yeah, our freshman class, I mean, I remember my freshman year, obviously, it was the #1 recruiting class and this and that. And, you know, we still have a lot of guys from that recruiting class still here, obviously. And, you know, we're pretty close. And then last year's recruiting class has kind of been wishy-washy as far as where they've ended up. But this year's has probably been the closest group of guys to come in together. Like, when they all got here, they were already, like, best friends with one another.
Yeah.
And so from then on out, you know, they always had somebody to kind of hang out with, be friends with. And that's hard as a freshman coming to college, you know.
Especially when you're not from here.
And there's a lot more of that now that Coach Johnson's here and he's recruiting more of a national stage. And so we got guys from, you know, New Jersey and California, and that's a two different –
complete opposite from Louisiana.
Those are two different people right there, you know. And so, you know, you bring them in, and I don't know if I've embarked any wisdom on them, but just what I always respected about like guys like Gavin Dugas and Cade Beloso is they went about their business how they went about their business. They didn't expect you to necessarily do it just like them, but if you ever needed something out of them, they were always available to you. And so for me, just being available as much as I can be, whether that be on the field, off the field, in any way I can be. You know, I'm not going to try and push my opinion on anybody because baseball is hard enough and I don't have it figured out, so I'm certainly not going to try and help you and then you go further down it and now I really feel bad. So just being available for the guys if whatever they need.
Jared.
Yeah, you speak about the freshman. I don't want to really single him out, but what he's doing this year is pretty impressive. You got a chance to hit behind him, I would imagine, a lot of the fall. At what point during the fall did you probably think that Curiel had the chance to go out and have just a great year? Because what he's doing right now is impressive.
Yeah, I remember last year, actually, when he was on a visit or something, he was at a game standing behind the turtle, and he didn't shut up the entire time. I was like, man, who the hell is this guy? And I'm like, he's a senior. He won't be here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's going to get drafted, whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Well, I see, come this summer, he pulled his name out of the draft, and I was like, oh, this little kid, he's coming to campus. This is going to be fun. And, man, he gets here, and he's full of personality.
Yeah.
He's the same kid he was on that visit. He's always talking, always joking around.
Likes to gamble, I heard.
A little bit.
Yeah. Good ping pong guy. How are you on the tables?
Not so good.
That's okay. Good at a lot of things. You don't have to be good at everything.
Yeah, he's very good at ping pong.
Yeah.
And so I think the first day of the fall, he went out there and probably got 3 hits. I don't really remember, but he went 3 for 4 every fall game.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. And so from then on out, you're like, okay, is this really going to be how it is? Because some guys go out there and have great falls, and then it's not so great in the spring. And then in the spring, preseason, it was like 3 for 4 every game with a walk. We're like, okay, this guy's in the lineup.
Yeah.
And then to start the year, it was 3 for 4 every game.
First homer of the year for the team?
So I was like, man, no, he's a real player, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he goes about his business the right way.
He showed a lot of emotion, a lot more emotion than you've seen from him. I think, obviously he's full of personality. I've been trying to get him on here, but, he's busy schedule. He says he's coming on at some point. But he has, been super – you just haven't seen the emotion like you saw from him. Not a big moment. Tie the game, goes nuts, and then does it again. Was it yesterday when he hit the homer? Or was it the homer? Whatever. He showed a bunch of emotion this weekend. Y'all probably see it. We haven't seen it. But is that something that is his character or is out of character and, was really cool to see him just get that jacked up?
I don't know if that's out of character for him because being in the locker room with him, obviously, that's just kind of who he is. But, I mean, obviously, I think kind of going through that year, energy comes from good things happening. So when good things happen for our team, we really want to build off of that, especially at the time of the year that we're on. So when he hit that game-tying single, the game that we had, the 8 innings leading up to that, it was just grueling and, man, we got to go. And for us to finally get that big hit, for us to finally break through, it's a big-time moment right there. And so for him to show all that emotion, he really cares about this team. He really wants us to win. And so for me, I just respect him for that. Yeah.
Y'all have been really good. You talked about Beck coming off the bench, 7 at-bats on the year. Feels like everybody understands their role and what their part of the team is and have accepted that. And every time they get called upon, they come up big. He did it this past weekend. Every time John Pearson comes up to play, it feels like he's going to hit the ball over the fence, right? Hit the ball hard somewhere. Josh hasn't been in the lineup every game, but every time he's in the lineup, something good happens. Same thing with Jake Brown.
Ashton Larson.
It feels like, you have everyone that gets the opportunity to do this rises up to the occasion. And in my opinion, that shows how close the team is, and it shows the leadership from the top down and how successful they have been. Talk about how awesome that has been to see these guys, except because it's easy. You said everybody wants to do well selfishly, and everybody wants to start. But if you don't embrace the role that you have, then that's all you're going to do is bring everybody else down. Talk about how cool that's been and how the chemistry of the team has continued to build.
Yeah, I mean, the first day of the fall, like I said, we get there and we have the 2-hour meeting with Coach Johnson in the team room going over a PowerPoint. And, I mean, half of it is literally just about us as a team and how we're going to be a close group of guys, and we need to support one another. And he has you're even on one of the slides because he talks about the national championship teams and guys on that team. They're like, I think you replaced an upperclassman that year that y'all won because you were a freshman, and that upperclassman could have been selfish and said, F this season, who cares? And then he's on top of the dog pile at Omaha. So would you sacrifice getting yours for us getting ours,
Yep.
And so, that's been the main message of the season is, team over me. We have shirts made with them. And it's hard to buy into that collectively. But Coach Johnson did a good job of getting the right personalities and the right group of guys together where everybody's really bought into that. And I think it also takes having a team that is capable of doing it because we have so much talent. We have so many guys around us. There's 2 lineups that could go out there and win a game in the SEC and do exactly what we are doing. And when you see that, it's a lot easier to root for those guys and to be a part of a team like that.
Jay?
In terms of setting examples and being kind of out in front of how he goes about his way and how he does his thing, to the lower classmen behind you guys, having someone like Josh Pearson, can you talk a little bit about how influential what he does every day is? Because I got to imagine for younger guys that have gotten a chance to see him in that uniform for a while, but then watch him be as hot as anyone on the team, and then after a while he may be out of the lineup, and watching how he goes about his day. How big of an influence is he on your team?
He's huge. I think you can compare him to like a Cade Beloso as far as, that 23 team. And, I don't want to make comparisons to the team, but just the personality and the guy he is in the locker room, He shows up every day and he has the same smile, giddy little joking smirk on his face. And he shows up wearing anime hoodies with, Crocs on. And so he's just, he is who he is and he never changes. And so that's why we love him so much. And, whether he is facing Jacob deGrom or, some lefty from Southeastern, he's going to give you a quality at bat and go out there and compete his butt off. So, and he's had kind of the same role for the 4 years that he's been here as far as kind of the outfield rotation and right field and DH this year. And he never complains. He's always down for whatever. And he's just a great guy, and I really respect him for that.
Speaking of being down for whatever, they had a guy on their team felt like he was down for whatever. And, it's a bold move when you got a guy that's a foot taller than you and kind of get up in his grill. Emotional game. Everybody's competitors. But they had one guy specifically that, kind of ran his mouth. And I'm not asking you to talk shit on anybody. I'm asking the question. One, what was – yeah, how are those conversations like? What led to that? And do you like when that shit happens? And does it kind of flip a switch on you? Like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I think in any sport at any level, there's always some aspect of shit talking. And I think, like y'all say, I played football growing up. So up until my sophomore year of high school, football was kind of like my way of going and getting some frustration out or, picking a fight, So last time I was in a fight was sophomore year of high school playing football. But yeah, so baseball, obviously my freshman year I go viral for the Kentucky incident and, heat of the moment, get pretty
Cameras
fired
are
up.
everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm I think now that, I'm at this level, I didn't realize, man, I'm on TV. I probably should watch what I say.
I don't quick pitch you.
Yeah, hey. And so Schmidt's on the mound and, he had – it's a chirpy game. There's always something going on, whether, we're talking shit to them or they're talking shit to us. Yeah. And that's just how it is in any game at any level. And so Friday night's game is what it is.
Awesome.
Emotions are flying all over that game. Go into Saturday's game, Schmidt's on the mound, 3-2 count, trying to throw a heater. It's 95 up and in. Is what it is. We run one up there. And he kind of gives Schmidt a look, and he's kind of keeping his eyes on Schmidt. And I'm like, man, Schmidt's not a guy that is a very emotional guy. Right. He's very calm on the mound, doesn't show a lot of, emotion. He's going to stay within himself.
Freshman, he's not going to go overseas.
He's not going to go out of his way to start a problem. So I kind of walked down first base, and I was kind of like, okay. So I'm looking at this guy, looking at him. What are you looking at? You.
In so many words.
Yeah. And he didn't like that. So, but like, if the camera wasn't on me right there, like that, it doesn't matter. And like, I mean, that dude's really talented. He can pick the ball at shortstop.
He's a great defender.
Really good shortstop.
Swings a wet noodle, but I
won't comment on
I'm saying that.
He plays really good shortstop, and
certainly interesting at tagging.
Guys who play with like chip on their shoulder, like that makes it more fun. Like I'm not trying to go out there and you just lay down and
for sure.
Oh, sure, you can just play the game of baseball and no emotion shown, and it's just another day at the ballpark. Like no, like it's a top 10 matchup. It's a Saturday night. It's best on best.
Yep.
We're going at each other. It's a close game. Like things are going to be said. Things are going to be happening at the end of the game. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Move on. Flush it. Right on to the next one.
Well, well, Friday he didn't really move on, did he? I mean, it took him a while to get off the field. Whatever.
Well, he said, I don't think there was any. Well, maybe. I mean, not that anybody noticed because everybody was on their team.
We were taking fireball shots. Somebody snuck into the stadium.
Yeah, it was great. Which is great.
It was.
That was a move that you would do.
Yeah.
Jay, you got one?
Yeah, I got one. You've given us quite a few search-worthy moments this year. I got one I want to ask about, and if you knew that it was going to turn into this, and if this at all went through your mind as this is going on. Talk to me about the porta-potty situation, man. Like, I know, you got to get there and get what you need to get done. But as you're standing there, full uni, helmet on and everything, are you thinking, like, somebody's got to get a picture of this?
Man, so we pull up to Nichols, and Jacob Myers had transferred from there.
Right.
And he's telling us, he's like, look, guys, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. It's not good. We're like, all
Can't
right.
sugarcoat it.
And we get there, and it's not good. And we're kind of taking BP, and I'm like, Porta John? Yep. That's the bathroom? Yep. All right. Like the first or second inning, I had to go use the restroom. So I go out to the Porta John, and the bus driver was standing right there, and he's like, let's just go to the bus real quick. So like, perfect. Well, like the 6th or 7th inning goes by, and they're making a pitching change, and I'm in the double hole.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I gotta pee.
go. Yeah.
So I'm like, pitching change, double hole. I'll just go real quick. Yeah. So I run out there, I'm standing there, somebody's in there. I'm like, oh.
Helmet on, everything. That was the greatest part of it, the helmet on.
And I'm like, oh man, somebody's in there. And the guy's standing outside waiting for the next one next to me. He's like, you're Jared Jones?
No, I'm just dressed up like him.
Yes, sir. Well, can I get a picture with you real quick? Sure. So he takes a selfie with me.
Yes.
And then because I shouldn't have said yes, because as soon as I said yes, here comes 20 kids. Yep. Can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to use the restroom. I gotta go ahead. And I should have known better, because as soon as I get on my phone after the game, I scroll on my phone. I've got like 3 text messages, all from different family members who I haven't talked to in probably months.
Yeah.
Aunts, uncles, and stuff like that. And they're like, is this you? No way you. Yes, that's me. I did that. Yep. Sorry.
That's my favorite. Are you Jared Jones? Nah, bro. I just came to the game with a helmet, full uni. But I'm not Jared Jones. Nope. That's me.
I get that a lot.
Yeah. I do this because I'm a big fan of LSU, so I'm just gonna copy my favorite player. Come on.
Up and down. You should have looked yourself up and down and just be like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's me.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
No, it was the helmet for me. That's what made it great. And honestly, like, I think that's a great way to go. That's a great reason to go viral, right? It's not, anything. It's just wholesome. It's a wholesome moment right there. We talked a little bit about the pitching staff and a little bit about the pitchers, right? Kase Evans been lights out. Lights out. Goes on there. Skip Urban used to call it the inevitable 2. First inning as a starter, it is the hardest thing to get out of as a starter because you're trying to find it. The hitters are trying to figure you out. More times than not, you're going to give up a run or two that maybe you shouldn't have given up, but he calls it the inevitable 2. If you can get through the inevitable 2 and lock it back in, you're going to have a great game. Kase Evans did it. It was his first career start. Obviously, he's throwing a lot of innings. Talk about that, rising up in a moment like that, because it was, I don't want to call it a gotta-have-it series, but where y'all want to get to go, that was a big, big series to get because, it validates everything that y'all been doing, puts you in a position to, be a national seed to be able to host all through the postseason. Talk about his performance and how he has been throughout the course of this year.
Yeah, I think the message going into that Sunday game was like, at some point this year, we're going to be in a game 3, whether that be regional, super regional, Omaha. There's going to be a game where winner take all. And that was Sunday's game, and it was a big series. And Kase got the starting role, and he went out there. And to be honest with you, they knew what pitch was coming in the first inning. They had their pitches at second base.
Well, that's okay. So let me ask. Like, I don't mean to cut you off, but we were talking about this because you could see them.
Yeah, they were relaying.
And they weren't even hiding the signs. So you have the pitch comms.
Mm-hmm.
How does that? Was he tipping it in his hand? Because they see it in his hand. Like how? Because they can only get it when they're at second.
They only had it at second. I thought they were getting it off of our wristbands as like the defender holding the guy on. He was kind of like looking back because they have him right there. That's, a shot in the dark. I don't know if it was in the glove or not. That's hard to see. And that's like the first thing we covered with guy on second. So I don't know, but he had him for 4 or 5 pitches in a row, and that's when they went
4 hits,
dump single for 2 RBIs. So Kaysen wasn't all that. He wasn't hit hard. Like the hits that they had, even all weekend. Like I don't think Anthony was hit very hard all weekend. They just kind of had some hits that fell in there. How baseball goes. And 2 runs, we go down, and Coach Johnson was like, collectively as a group, Coach Johnson didn't even say anything. He's just standing at the top of the step, and collectively as a group, we're like, man, we got to answer right now. And there,
Curiel homer, and then second inning, Jake Brown 3-run homer. After that, it felt like I talked about the start of the show, exorcism. We felt like Friday was like the offensive exorcism, like, oh, we're good. We got the demons out. I think Sunday was that, right? Like everybody was swinging it. Barreling balls up, hitting balls back in the gap. And yet y'all hadn't really had a game like that collectively as a team in a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So that had to feel pretty good to be able to say everybody started chipping in and kind of took a deep breath, it felt like.
Absolutely, yeah. Going into that game, obviously we weren't where we wanted to be as an offense, but we talked about just like, hey, man, just throw it in the fire, forget about it, move on to the next game. It's about winning. At this point, we're at the point of the season where stats aren't exactly like our biggest concern. Sure, personally, everybody really wants to do well for themselves, and we can all respect that. But at this point, it's more than that, and it's about winning.
Yeah, and usually that stats become better when it's about winning.
Yeah,
Jared.
So it's this way. I remember it being this way in football. It's obviously this way in baseball as well. Now, as a player, your preparation and how you go out there, it never really changes. I think we would all agree with that. But there is certain series and or certain games when you get a schedule that you look at and you hope that the hype that goes into it or what you think it should be to start the year, you hope that it is that by the time that game or that series gets here. Obviously, that was the Tennessee series, right? That's probably one of them. Now, it wasn't 1 against number 2, but you got 2 top 10 teams going at it. Getting a chance to play in those before you get to the postseason, how cool is that? And how cool is it to see like the younger guys get a chance to kind of go through that for the first time?
Yeah, it's awesome. When the schedule came out, like that was the weekend
Everybody
for me.
circled it.
We circled that one on the calendar. Defending national champs. Obviously, since I've been here, we've played them probably 10 or 12 times, and the record's it was pretty even. So, obviously I'm interested in it, and going into that weekend, like I think back to my freshman year, they came to us, and Jordan Thompson hits that double and digs the grave for him. So, I'm thinking back to that, and that was like a record-breaking crowd. The same night women's basketball won the national championship, and the crowd erupted. So it was like, it's going to be an awesome one. And I was telling all the guys, like, we got the new seats, like it's going to be a record-breaking weekend.
Yeah, and it was.
It was. And unfortunately, Friday night, we had the delay, but, the fans stuck around, and it was still pretty loud that night. And then, Saturday night, record-breaking crowd. And that place was electric for that game. And then, you don't come out on top of that and kind of feel a little bit like you let them down a little bit. Like, man, we had a record-breaking crowd, and we couldn't pull out a win. And they had the 2000 national champion team there, and it was like, damn.
We blew that one.
Yeah. And we go out there Sunday, and it's just like, hey, man, it's one game, all the marbles, let's go get it.
Yep, and y'all went and got it. Lloyd, you got one?
Oh, I was going to actually touch on the crowd on Friday night because I would imagine leading
Well, they
up
upgraded.
To that,
they advanced. Remember, 2 years ago in that game, they were throwing food and beer. This year, they threw a baseball.
Yeah.
And I think it hit them.
I think so, too.
As a right fielder, I wouldn't get as mad unless it hit me. It had to hit him.
I think it went like whizzed right by him. Like it wasn't just like a little like, hey.
Yeah, he threw it.
He threw it.
They still don't know who it is.
No, they know it is. They gotta get kicked out.
Yeah, they
When
said he didn't do it.
They bring Mongo out there to do something like that. I'm like, boy, this guy did something real bad because Mongo ain't the enforcer really,
No.
Yeah.
but he did it.
I love that they sent an umpire all the way over there too to kick him out. He got to heave ho one guy. It's like I don't think that's part of your job description to be able to throw
They
fans
can throw.
out.
They can throw whoever they want
and
out.
make it official.
That's it. You got one?
But I was gonna say the crowd on Friday, like obviously I would imagine leading up to that, like leading up to the game, whether it be throughout the week or on Friday, whenever the rain delay was called, which seems to happen a lot with Jay, and he has a pitcher he likes that's scheduled to start on Friday. But were y'all in the dugout or in the locker room going, man, I wonder if anybody's gonna stick it out after it's been an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
They're vets on that. They've been doing it all year.
I would imagine that you're going, don't worry about it, boys. There's still gonna be some people here.
Well, I mean, we're sitting in the locker room and we all took our cleats off. We're all just chilling in like our, just like undershirts and everything, chilling in the lounge chairs, watching TV, and 30-minute clock. It just reset.
It's the worst.
It just reset. There's 10 minutes left. It just reset. And so we're sitting there like, man, we're not playing tonight. They got the radar up. It hadn't moved. It's dumping on the field. I'm like, not tonight. Like, please don't make us play a doubleheader tomorrow.
That would have been a disaster.
Please don't make us play a doubleheader tomorrow.
10 o'clock, right? That's the deadline. They have to start before 10,
I
I
have
think?
no idea what the I don't know. But they come in there at like 8:45. The Coach Johnson comes in there, called a team meeting. He's like, we've got a window. We're going to try and get it in. We're going to try and go. And then he was like, five minutes later, he was like, negative on that. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And so, like, we had just put our cleats back on, got ready to go back out to the field. Then they called us back off. Like, man. And then, like, 10 seconds later, like, never mind, we're back on.
Yeah.
So we run out there. We're like, all right. And they're like, we got an hour, 9:50 start. Get loose, go hit in the cages, do whatever you need to do, throw, took in and out. And then it was on. And, I mean, at the start of the game, it was still a pretty big crowd and a lot of energy. And for the people that were there, they gave it their all that night.
Yeah, no doubt. During rain delays, you always have, like, different personalities. Like, you got the sleepers who take the naps. You got the guys who are, playing ping pong, playing music loud. You got the guys who are meteorologists all of a sudden. So, like, they're going out there and they're looking at it. Do y'all have those guys?
Oh, yeah.
Can you point call them out? Because in every baseball team, you got the guys that's like, oh, we're going to play or we're not going to play because he's reading the weather or doing whatever.
My dad's a farmer. I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'll say Luis Hernandez, I don't think he left his locker. He went inside, took his shoes off, laid down, pulled his clothes over that. And I didn't see him until we went back out on the field. But then, like, you got guys like me, Josh, and Jake who just kind of sat there and were just, like, bullshitting the whole time. Didn't really care what was going on. And we'll play when we play.
Yeah, the vets.
Yeah, we've been here before. And then, you got the guys in there playing ping pong, eating off the dinner table still, getting another sandwich, But, yeah, I think for the most part, guys stayed pretty loose.
Yeah.
I never know what to do. I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to get tied. I don't want to stay too loose. I don't want to tire myself out. And so I'm just sitting in the locker room and trying to save as much energy as I can.
No doubt.
How much is Jay going back and forth during this thing? Because, like I said, it seems like he might be a meteorologist because it's always something with the weather.
I would, if we had like one of those finger pulse meters on him, dude. I think
Check his
it would be
score?
beeping.
Yeah.
Because he goes from the
pacing.
dugout to the locker room, back to his office, back to over to the umpire's locker room. And every time we see him, he's like, man, he looks pissed.
He didn't hear what he wanted to
We
hear.
can look at his facial expression to determine whether or not
Yeah.
we're going to play or when we're going to play, all those types of things.
We got another 45 minutes.
Didn't even have to say anything.
Jared, you got another one?
Yeah, I got one. For people that don't really know like the ins and outs or like the inside of the game, if you will, when things like this happen, playing first base, obviously that wasn't your dominant position. I guess once you got to campus, it's kind of something you've grown into. Are you the conversation starter or are you the conversation fielder? And if you're the starter, what kind of conversations are you bringing to people that come to first base?
I'm not a conversation starter at first base.
What about at third base?
No, definitely not. The Alabama first base coach, he got ejected on Friday night in like the sixth or seventh inning.
Tough
and
look for the take the helmet off.
I hope he doesn't hear this because I was kind of happy because that dude talked my ear off.
Oh, no.
And I was like, the
That's
whole
the
game,
worst.
I was like, yep, yeah,
That's the worst.
Yes, sir. Yep. And then the Tennessee dude, like, he's cool. He recruited me in high school, so like I had a little bit of familiarity with him. And then obviously I know a couple of the players on Tennessee, so we had a conversation like, how's this guy doing? Dylan Lesko was a guy I played high school baseball with or travel ball with, and we were talking about him. But like when people get to first base, like hitters get to first base, I usually, unless it's like a good swing, I'll be like, hey man, good swing. But other than that, I don't really say much unless they say something to me.
Yeah, it's tough. You have a lot of first basemen coming like in the big leagues that'll talk to you on purpose. And try to distract you from getting a good jump or stealing or doing whatever you need to do. Usually it's the veteran guys, and they try to butter you up and do those types of things. Lloyd mentioned third base, right? I gave an example. I played outfield my entire life. My last year in professional baseball, 21, I was taking ground balls at first base. I've never played in the dirt in my life. And ground balls in BP and pre-games, easy. I understand it. Didn't really work on the footwork all that much. While I was swinging it well, they said, hey, we're going to play you. Can I start you at first? I'm like, yeah, no problem. You don't realize the different angles, the pickoffs, the footwork, and what goes into a new position, especially if you haven't played it when it's game time. Talk to me about the third base. Obviously you've played infield, you're a catcher, it's not like you haven't done it before, but it's a whole different animal going from third to first.
Yeah.
Talk about that transition and kind of that experience.
Is it over? Because I think you could do it still. After I saw you field the bunt against Brady Neal, I was like, look at the big man go.
First of all, Brady Neal tipped his.
He did. So people don't know that. He looked at me before he let off that inning, and Bill Frank, as always, goes on the loudspeaker and announces the defensive changes, and he was saying, now playing third base, Jared Jones, and Brady kind of looked over at me, and he goes,
and did you think he was being serious?
Oh, I knew.
Oh, okay.
I figured at some point in that at bat he was going to show the bunt.
Yeah.
And second pitch, he did it. But no, going into the midweek this week, I didn't know I was playing third. Get there, the lineup was on the board, right at the end of BP, playing third base. I was like, okay. So I go in the locker room, kind of sneaked my phone, and because I'm not supposed to have synced on my phone, and I look up Nolan Aaron too. I'm like, please, just let this be good. Watch his highlights. I'm like, all right, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah. That doesn't look that hard. Second inning, here we go. Chopper. And I'm like, I got to go get the big hop. And I get there, and I'm like, I'm not fast enough. I'm not going to get there. So then I just stopped completely, and I'm like, oh, deer in headlights. Here we go.
It's
whiffed
tough.
on it. And then after that one, I was like, yeah. And then we went to the rain delay, came back out of that, and I was like, I'm cooked.
I mean, listen, people don't realize third base is hard. Some may say it's harder than playing shortstop. It's just different angles. Balls come off differently. High hop, short hop, quick decisions.
Yeah.
It's a tough deal.
Yeah.
Kudos for you, though. I mean, that's a hard thing, to go out there in a game and not preparing mentally before.
Oh, yeah.
He prepared mentally. Arenado highlights.
Well, the night before. The night before, you probably had it on the TV, figured it out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No doubt.
Oh, speaking of, with you obviously being at first, and Mike, you mentioned shortstop. There's a lot of conjecture around this town of Miles not being able to play shortstop before the year. I don't know where it came from. I was of the sentiment that he could have played it last year, and then you see him make that transition to short. How I would imagine everybody on the team was pretty much locked in that he can do this.
Oh, absolutely. The second he got to campus, we were out there. The first day, we have practice, coaches aren't allowed to technically be out there because of the NCAA rules, so it's a player-ran practice. Right. And we had our managers were hitting fungos to all the positions, and he was kind of rotating in between short and second, and we all just kind of went whoa.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Ball comes out nice.
Everything. It was
He's
everything.
So good.
Yeah.
And, Braswell is also a really good defender, and he did a great job last year. I think he had a little bit more experience in the SEC, obviously, so Coach Johnson went with the experience at shortstop. And now with Braz being a longer guy, being able to play third, moves him over, helps him out in his career probably, and then, Monster gets to develop. And I don't know where those notions of him not being able to defend came from.
That goes to the people who don't really
I've never seen him not defend.
Right. Well. And he was it was great at second. He came on this show. He's like, I'm a natural shortstop. Playing second last year was harder than playing shortstop this year.
Exactly, yeah. And, every play, there was a ground ball hit literally yesterday where it was a lefty up, might have been Fisher. He hit that ground ball to short, and we were in a shift, and I was like, man, that's through. So I was half jogging to first base, getting ready to say, just hold him on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I see him fielding. I'm like, oh, I gotta get to the bag.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's good. He's got a good arm. He's done everything you want as a shortstop and more.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you get to see
he hadn't even gotten hot yet.
No, then I was about to say.
He's still got 9 big flies.
And he's about to get same part of the year last year he got hot, it feels like.
Same thing with Braswell.
Same thing with Braswell.
Scorching.
2 homers this week. Same thing with you.
Mm-hmm.
You got hot at the end of the year last year going into the postseason, hitting homers every other bat, it felt like. Like, I think that's what people don't realize, the ebbs and flows, and you want to be doing this, ascending.
Trending the right way.
Yeah, towards the postseason, and it feels like y'all are doing that. Obviously, y'all got a big weekend this weekend at A&M. You know, their crowd's always pretty hostile, and it should be fun. Man, we've kept you a long time. I didn't want to keep you for a whole hour, but we did. We appreciate you.
Of course.
Boys, if there's any more questions, or I don't know if you had a specific one that came in from the chat.
Oh, God.
No, actually, don't do that. Don't even go to that.
I mean, we touched on it.
We went through everything I think they wanted to hear. But man, we've been excited to watch you. We're excited to watch the rest of the season unfold. And best of luck the rest of the way, dude.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Come on anytime you want.
Of course.
Of course, man. Appreciate you.
This is a safe space, unlike Twitter.
Safe space. No doubt.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
I laugh at it. Dude.
You
I think it's
to.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I get on Twitter after the games and I'm looking at it. Some of them I'm like, man, good one. You know, you got me a little bit there. But then other one, I'm like, man, like, who genuinely just sits here and types this stuff out?
It's
Fire Jay Johnson.
It's the people that you.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who you go get?
Yeah.
Is Jay Johnson like Coach O?
Like, well, how did your brain get
Yeah,
here?
where did you get
Smooth
that?
brain.
Yeah. The people that write are the people that you probably envision.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen when I was here, I saw people in class on Tiger droppings, and that's exactly
What you think
who
they
I
would look
thought
like?
it was. Not personally, I don't know him, but
I hope I never run into somebody.
it
on
was in the
Tiger
Cox
droppings.
Center, the
Oh,
auditorium.
yeah.
So
Oh,
you could
you can see
skybox
everybody. Yeah.
And so there was 2 rows in front of me, and there was this guy, and obviously didn't play baseball probably ever. Typing away on Tiger droppings.
I don't
Thread
think
was,
Mikey Mahtook can play
thread
center
was,
field.
is this baseball? Does this baseball team suck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right,
Hey.
well, there it is. There it is. Dude, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Good luck this weekend, and we'll see y'all.
Good luck tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow.
Back to third. Maybe catcher.
That would be fun.
That'd be great. Oh, I'd love to see
Tell
it.
your pops we say what's up, man.
I will.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
appreciate you, dude.
Yes, sir.
Not formal. You can just bounce, whatever.
Don't forget your keys in your wallet. That happens a lot. It's because y'all want to come back. It's the old
That's
trick
okay.
that I used to
Recurring
do.
guest.
I'll have to go back to the house. Sorry
You
about
got him.
that. Yeah,
Appreciate you, dude.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yep.